Hello, welcome to the morning edition of MBC News, and you are with me, Abale. Our top stories. Beneficiaries of this year's lean season food insecurity response program warned against abuse of the food aid. Former cabinet ministers Richard Chimwendo Banda and Mumba spent a night in police custody. And in sports, the Malawi national netball team, the Queens, will face Uganda in a semi-final clash today. Thank you for joining us. Now the news in detail. Beneficiaries of the lean season food insecurity response program in the country have been cautioned against selling or misusing the food assistance meant to cushion hunger-stricken households. Vice President Justice Dr. Jane Ansah issued the warning at Lufita Ground in Chitipa when she presided over the ongoing food distribution exercise for the district, coordinated by the Department of Disaster Management Affairs, DOTMA. George Nkandawire reports.
According to the Vice President, Dr. Jane Ansah, government is aware of the food shortages affecting many parts of the district and the country following poor harvests, but stressed that the support should directly benefit the intended households. Dr. Ansah further said the government of President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika will live to its promise that no one will be left to starve, among others. She therefore called on people in Chitipa to work hard in their fields so as they harvest enough next season.
Ndichenjeze anthu onse ofuna kukolola ndi kupindula pamutu pa anthu ovutikitsitsa kuti aone polekera pogwirizana ndi malamulo oyendetsera ntchito za ngozi zogwa mwadzidzidzi. Ndipemphe kuti tonse tigwirane manja kuti tilimbikitse kwambiri ulimi wa nthirira ndi wa makono osadalira mvula yokha kuti tikhale odzidalira pa chakudya. Ndipemphenso anthu onse tidzikonza m'minda mwathu pokonzekera kudzala kuti tichepetse vuto la kusowa kwa chakudya pa khomo pathu.
Speaking area, DOTMA Commissioner Wilson Molin urged community leaders in the district to promote accountability and ensure light people receive the support, warning against corruption, favoritism and diversion of relief items. Senior Chief Morambi of the district expressed gratitude to the government for the assistance, noting that many families have been starving on one meal a day due to depleted food stocks.
We thank the Vice President to come and give out food to those who are in dire need. We also must go on the same page that we should look for fertilizer so that we arrest the possibility of having hunger next year. So that's why I asked for the government, for her to go and speak for us, so that they should provide fertilizer to those who can afford to buy.
DOTMA says the lean season response will continue throughout the district, reaching about 3,000 vulnerable families until next harvest. George Nkandawire, MBC, Chitipa.
The Malawi Judiciary has launched its 2025-2030 strategic plan and digitalization strategy to address issues such as clearing backlog of cases in court. During the official launch of the two documents in Banda, Chief Justice Rizin Mzigamanda described the development as a significant milestone in Malawi's digital migration efforts, noting that the initiatives will help reduce delays to access justice across the country. Details with Ruth Chinangwa.
Chief Justice Nzigamanda said the rolling out of the two documents will not only improve efficiency but also enhance the transparency within the justice system. He said the reforms will allow citizens to access information and court services more easily, especially in remote areas where legal processes have traditionally been slow. He further called for continued support from stakeholders to foster improved performance and ensure alignment with the purpose and objectives outlined in the document.
The digitalization strategy is going to help very significantly in reducing backlog and delay, because some of the problems that we face in the court system is that documents tend to miss, files tend to miss, but with the digitalization, we'll minimize the missing of documents and files, but also it will speed up the processing of documents. Manual processing tends to take long, but digital systems are faster than the manual system.
The formulation of the two documents has received financial and technical support from EU Chirungamo 2 program. Its team leader, Marco Leto, said the documents will serve as a blueprint, defining judicial operations and guiding the judiciary towards achieving its strategic goal.
I think they are extremely critical, because it's like giving certain kind of the roadmap for the judiciary for the next 4 years. And I think it was also critical that they created at the same time, because they spent a lot of time to see that these two kind of the strategies are aligned with each other. So that's why the timing was really good.
The Malawi judiciary has been implementing a series of reforms since 2003 aimed at strengthening justice delivery and improving public trust in the courts. Ruth Chinangwa, MBC News, Blantyre.
Malawi's aquaculture and food security sectors received a boost of over 29 billion kwacha from Norway. Speaking at the launch of the project in Lilongwe, Norwegian ambassador to Malawi and Bjelland said Norway wishes to see Malawian farmers enjoy increased food productivity and income through fish farming. Isaac Jolly reports.
The 29 billion kwacha has been channeled into a project entitled Integrated Aquaculture and Agriculture to Combat Food Insecurity in Malawi, a 5-year initiative by the Cooperative Development Foundation of Canada, CDF. It aims to strengthen Malawi's diversified and commercialized agriculture sector in line with Malawi's 2063 vision by organizing small-scale farmers into cooperatives to engage in aquaculture and crop production. According to the Norwegian ambassador to Malawi, Anne Yeland, the project will, among other aspects, empower women engaged in aquaculture and agriculture systems to integrate livestock and crop production and practice smart agriculture to end hunger.
Norway remains a steadfast partner to Malawi at a time of difficult macroeconomic times. And our commitment endures because partnership like ours is very important for resilience and opportunity. Now the project we have launched today, called the Agriculture Project to Combat Food Insecurity in Malawi, is a 5-year program started last year, 2024, and it would last until 2028. It has a budget of 170 million Norwegian kroner. And I'd like to stress that the idea is not just to provide short-term help, but to give communities the tools they need for lasting food security and better economic opportunities.
Director of Livestock and Animal Health in the Ministry of Agriculture, Julius Chulu, commended the Norwegian government for the initiative.
This project is actually advocating peer learning. The integration of agriculture and fisheries is what our ancestors were doing before. We want to go back to the origins so that we can have climate smart, resilient and innovative solutions. So this is very important because everybody is going to work together and every community will sit down and look at their own problems in their own community. What do we need to do? What type of livestock we keep, what type of fish, what type of vegetables, what type of agroforestry plant, what type of forestry trees grow well in our. So it will be the community deciding their own developmental future.
Ben Andre is Executive Director of the Canadian Development Foundation, CDF, and says the project targets 1,500 fish farmers and 2,500 small and medium enterprises, including fish processors and input suppliers.
I think this project really works well with the priority of the government to increase the production of fish in Malawi. These are very ambitious, but very necessary. We are very admirative of what the government is actually doing and of their goals. And I think we will be able to contribute to meeting the goals of the government and the 2063 plan.
The project runs from 2024 up to 2028. Isaac Jali, MBC, Lilongwe.
Some refugees at Dzaleka refugee camp in Doha have called on government to enhance their welfare, specifically in the areas of education, travel documents, and determination of refugee status. The call was made during the Refugees' Rights and Inclusive Dialogue in Norway. Catherine Banda reports.
According to a Refugees Independent Schools Association director, Pasco Bagaluza, currently Dzaleka refugee camp has an enrollment of over 34,000 students going to private schools at the camp. He says the two government-owned schools at the camp are facing serious congestion. He says despite the situation, most private schools at the camp risk closure as they do not meet government standards. Bagaruza has also urged the government to ease access to refugees' travel documents for education and health matters, claiming many are missing international scholarships for their education.
I will beg the government. I know they have been good to us for many years, and this cannot only interrupt them to give us that travel documents so that maybe we can go further with our education. Because some of the people get scholarship within Dzaleka refugee camp, but they are not allowed to go outside Malawi because of what? Of that particular documents.
Adding her voice, programs manager for Dzaleka refugee camp Asmai Union asked the government to consider looking into some restrictive laws for refugees, saying to some extent they hinder their progress.
We don't have the opportunity to go further with our education. For example, like going to public university, it is also hard for us to own our own businesses, and it is also hard to be employed.
Inua Advocacy Communications Officer Brenda Tweer noted that it is almost 3 years since the Determination Committee of Refugees Status held its meeting, creating a backlog of thousands of asylum seekers that are yet to know their status. She says the determination is important as it guarantees the refugees' safety and provision of some necessities.
The Refugee Committee that looks into reviewing the stories or the cases of the refugees when they do the interviews as to why they want to be regarded as refugees in the country, they have not been meeting for the past 3 years. So most refugees that need or that are supposed to get the refugee status are not getting the refugee status because of that challenge.
Minister of Homeland Security Peter Mukito says his ministry is already working on putting up the committee to look into the matters of refugees' status. Mukito adds that the Law Commission is also working out on a new legal framework which will also help the nation source help towards refugees.
We have written formally to the appointing authority, who is the president of the country, His Excellency Professor Dzaleka, to at least put up this committee so that the committee meets again to be suited and then look again at the backlog of the cases before it. So we are doing seriously something about it. And one thing which also we are looking again is how long should we keep these refugees in our country? Because it's almost 20 plus years since we had these refugees at Dzaleka.
According to the Ministry of Homeland Security, Malawi is currently hosting at least 60,000 refugees. Catherine Banda, MBC News, Lilongwe.
This is MBC News and you are with me, Abale Chingambe. A reminder of the top stories. Beneficiaries of this year's lean season food insecurity response program warned against abuse of the food aid. Former cabinet ministers Richard Chimwendo Banda and Mumba spent a night in police custody. And in sports, the Malawi national netball team, the Queens, will face Uganda in a semi-final clash today. Welcome back. Police has arrested Malawi Congress Party Secretary General Chimwendo Banda and Vitupiko Mumba, who was the party's presidential running mate during the 16 September general elections. National Police spokesperson Lael Chintembo declined to disclose the grounds for the arrest, stating that his office will release a statement explaining the reasons. Chimwendo Banda is being held at Kanengo Police Station, while Mumba is at Lingati Police Station. Rompe District Council has launched a 50 billion kwacha water, sanitation and hygiene wash investment blueprint to improve access to potable water supply and sanitation services for the district and surrounding areas. The investment is courtesy of the African Development Bank. Speaking after officially launching the plan, Director of Planning in the Ministry of Agriculture, Irrigation and Water Development, Alec Kaumba, said there is need for the council to strengthen its partnership with stakeholders in the sector to realize the vision. Chimwendo Milulu reports.
As statistics indicate that less than 70% of the population in the district has access to safe water and only 11% of households use improved sanitation and hygiene services, Director of Planning at Rompe District Council, Frank Mfune, says the council has come up with the WASH investment plan to improve the status quo.
Backtracked, about 11% of communities do not use toilets, they defecate openly. So these are worrying statistics for the council. That's why we came up with the GSIP to help us to put in place some strategies that will help us to improve the situation.
Guest of honor during the district sector investment plan launch, Alec Kaumba, who is Director of Planning in the Ministry of Agriculture, Irrigation and Water Development, said the plan aligns with the Malawi 2063 Vision and Sustainable Development Goal number 6, which advocates for safe water and sanitation for all by 2030.
District sector investment plan is a roadmap to get us to the achievement of sustainable development goals. The target for water supply is 100%. That's universal access by 2030 for Malawi. And for sanitation is 74%.
A representative from WaterAid, one of the key stakeholders in the sector, Chanduwira Chisi, says the launch is a step in the right direction in addressing challenges communities face to access WASH services.
Seeing Rompe taking lead in coming up with a sector investment plan, it's really quite motivating and encouraging, and it's a learning point for many districts in the country. That way, we are sure that they will be in a position to allocate resources for water, sanitation and hygiene.
Poor access to potable water and sanitation services can lead to waterborne diseases such as cholera and malnutrition, especially among under 5 children. Chimwendo Milulu, MPC News, Rompe.
Livelihoods of some vulnerable households from Pensulo and Kaliati villages under the Traditional Authority in Kulambe in Palombe have improved following the acquisition of skills from Action Aid project dubbed Kulambe Local Rights Program. The individuals are able to run small-scale businesses which are helping them to meet their needs. James Kajeba reports.
Cynthia Makira, who is 22, comes from Kaliati village under Traditional Authority in Kulambe in Palombe. 5 years ago, she ended up getting pregnant in her desperate attempt to fend for herself and her grandmother. The situation left her hopeless. She was spotted by Action Aid and the organization facilitated her training, and with the skills gained, she's now a full-fledged motorcycle mechanic. Now, she's living a better life than before.
When Action Aid spotted me, I felt a relief. Coming from such background covered with hopeless future, I thank God for such a blessing. With Action Aid, I learned to repair motorcycles. I now do my work and earn money, which is going a long way supporting me and my dependents.
Cynthia is just one among the many whose living standards have improved. These include women and men in groups such as Chigwirizano, Nkulambe AGYW, and Kofa.
When I got diagnosed with HIV, I thought that's the end of my life. But when Action Aid approached and trained me in herbal juice making, we have benefited a lot. We were trained on early childhood education, and most importantly, as teachers we were given courses to also practice animal farming to enable ourselves to become economically reliant. Before Action Aid, I had nothing to do to any living. I used to just hunt mice for sale and consumption, but with the skills gained with support from Action Aid, I'm able to repair cell phones. This has helped me, as now I'm able to support my family.
Previously, I had challenges to get resources on my own because I was not doing anything to enable me get money. But now I am among the members who are able to make money through businesses. I'm no longer depending on anybody for my living.
Reverend Toera Masiko is board member for Action Aid and shares the experience of the project implementation in the area.
It's a statement to show that we are fighting for gender rights, where women can be able to learn accommodation. So what am I taking from here? What we're taking from here is we are looking at our dream becoming a reality.
For example, Chigwirizano Women Group, which runs an agro-based business offering fresh farm produce, herbals and livestock, has constructed a school block for Nkulambe CDSS, well furnished with desks using part of their profits. And this is what Shire Highlands Education Division Manager Evelyn Njima had to say.
I would say impactful. That word is rich, impactful. We have seen some of the activities that the women have showcased. Lots. We have seen the readmission of the girls, the empowerment through the skills development, even for the women in the agriculture. All that, I would say, impactful.
During the 24-year period of project implementation in Nkulambe area, Action Aid has also managed to send back to school 353 young mothers so that they continue with their education. Through such initiatives, people are little by little rising from the pangs of poverty. James Kachepa, MPC News, Palombe.
Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, has introduced a new financing model which channels vaccine procurement budget directly to countries, giving them full authority to set priorities and manage their immunization programs. We have a report by Alufisha Fisha being read by Ruth Jinangwa.
Gavi Board Chairperson Jose Manuel Barroso said the new model replaces the long-standing rolling applications approach under which countries submitted separate funding requests for each vaccine or initiative. Instead, under the new system, governments will be provided with a 5-year allocation of available resources of all kinds of vaccines. The news has brought mixed reactions from the country's health advocates. George Jobe said the new model will help countries such as Malawi to have autonomy as to when and how to procure its vaccines, which will help to speed up the availability of various types of vaccines.
Malawi has been spending time writing proposals, asking for funds to procure some vaccines, making some applications, and sometimes that has led to delays in getting vaccines. See, in this case, there's going to be efficiency, that procurement of vaccines or access of vaccines will be done within a short period of time, because whenever Malawi has a need, it is going to plan on its own and do the procurements on its own, which is going to be very helpful. And sometimes we have also had some needs on vaccines that have been identified, but we're not sure whether this is going to be approved or not. On the other hand, it brings ownership to our country, because the nation knows that it can respond to its needs whenever they arise, and there's that kind of ownership.
While concurring with Joby, another health rights advocate, Maziko Matemba, has however urged the government to put in place a dedicated local team to manage the transition emphasizing that Malawi must meet procurement requirements and handle vaccine imports directly to avoid potential stockouts.
I think there's more work to be done because countries like growing companies like Malawi also need to have expertise within country. And I'm hoping with the time Malawi has worked with the Gavi Alliance and other global institutions, we have local capacities. We'll be able to appreciate and work with the Gavi as they transition to the new model, more especially on the market shaping, but also looking at how they negotiate costs for vaccine. And our advice is that government, with this new model, they need to start developing task force or committees within the Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Health and other procurement agencies within government and other line ministries, so that they're able to support this transitioning. Because it might look simple on the paper, but it will come to implementation. We find that the country can only be able to manage the complex processes of purchasing new expensive vaccines, which require a lot of support.
Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, has been instrumental in helping Malawi in procuring vaccines such as those of malaria, measles, rubella, and COVID-19, among other vaccines. Expectations are high that the coming in of the new financing model will ensure timely vaccine procurement for Malawi, as in the old model, Gavi responded slowly to the country's vaccine applications.
And now in sports, the Malawi national netball team, the Queens, will face Uganda in a semi-final clash today. The Queens qualified into the semi-finals of the Africa Netball Cup following a 34 win against Tanzania at Griffin Saenda Sports Complex in Norway. Queens dominated in all the quarters.
It's going to be another game altogether. We know Uganda is a very big team. We have won, yes. Congratulations to my girls. They played well. They started on a high note and they maintained it, which is good for us. Uganda is another big team. We just need to go back and work on losing balls. Because if we lose more balls against Uganda, Uganda is a team which keeps balls and we have sure passes. So we need to work on that tomorrow so that we come out perfect.
Malawians have high hopes looking at the way they are coming to watch these games. Do you think you have enough time to prepare against Uganda? Quite a lethal team.
We already prepared. We are just going to correct some mistakes that we have seen. Already we are improving each and every game. The little mistakes that are there, we are going to rectify tomorrow and see how we can go forward. Malawians should come in large numbers. Definitely, we need to give them joy at the end of the day.
And that's it from our newsroom this morning. A recap of our top stories before we leave. Beneficiaries of this year's Lean Season Food Insecurity Response Program warned against abuse of the food aid. Former cabinet ministers Richard Chimwendo Banda and Mumba spent a night in police custody. And in sports, the Malawi national netball team, the Queens, will face Uganda in a semi-final clash today. For more on these and other stories, scan the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen. You've been with me, Abale Chingambe. Thanks for watching and good morning.
Good morning and welcome. It's time for weather update. We should expect cloudy conditions to persist over most areas, but localized thunderstorms and rains are also expected over our country. Therefore, avoid crossing and driving through flooded waters. This is all due to the influence of an unstable air mass over our country. Therefore, this morning, localized thunderstorms and rains are expected over the lakeshore, central and southern areas. Mild conditions are also expected across most areas, with Nzuzu reaching a minimum temperature of 17 degrees Celsius, 19 degrees Celsius over Kasungu and surrounding areas, while 23 degrees Celsius over Ngabu and Nsanje. In the afternoon, hot conditions are expected over some areas like Kalonga, will reach a maximum temperature of 29 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Celsius over Nkata Bay, while Ngabu will reach a maximum temperature of 34 degrees Celsius. We should also expect cloudy conditions with localized thunderstorms and rains over the southern, central and northern areas. Thanks for watching. I'm Charity Mapondo. Be wise, be weather-wise.
Kuimba za jikoni